Hi, good afternoon everybody. In this video, last night sucks, but let's eye the prize, folks. Keep an eye on the prize. Coming up. Yeah, so yesterday, I'll just go over it briefly. Look, you know, when we let in two shorthanded goals, I was like, oh my God, like, we put a hill in front of us to climb the rest of the night, and we just couldn't climb it. Let's go over the numbers briefly. The numbers say basically kind of how it went. We outshot them 36-32, face-offs 53% to 47. They had no power plays. We were 1 for 4, of course, giving up the two shorties also. And we outhit them 21-9. They outblocked us 11-9. And 4 giveaways for us, 1 for them. Shots in the first, 12-11 Seattle. Shots in the second, 14-12 Seattle. And shots in the third, 13-6 Buffalo. So what I took from this, I'm happy Skinner had a good night. I was happy about that. There was some things that were good. There were some positive things. It's learning curbs. It's learning curbs, and we know right now that we're in a transition year of a rebuild. I mean, this is, I hate to say it, but I believe this time, though, the rebuild, we're getting it right. So we're going to have to do the old thing, be patient. And it really sucks because we've been patient for a decade. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We got to be patient. I love the team. I'm with them all the way, good and bad. So I have to stand by them no matter what they do. And I just really want to look at valid points that are happening. Like Skinner's alive this year. That's a really good thing for us with that big contract that our most expensive guy is scoring this year, which is thank you, Lord, for that, because it makes this a lot less painful than if Skinner would have 1 goal this year so far. This, where we're at right now, it's just a lot less painful knowing we can count on some of the guys to put the puck in the net. We don't have any kind of breakout scoring game for quite a while now, it feels like. It feels like we're always chasing and chasing and chasing. And that's kind of where we were last night again. 2-0. I was like, come on, like, wake up. And they did wake up. I don't know how many times, and then fall asleep briefly. And the bad plays that we give up sometimes are just inexcusable. But again, this team is just, it's a very fragile young bunch still. And we're going to have to be very tolerant of stupidity for a while. I think it might be for the entire season. We might have to just tolerate some of the boneheaded plays that happen and jump on the ones that are really good and be appreciative. I think we're going to see some of those kids there that you just seen in the clip. I think we'll see some of them this year. No doubt in my mind, we're going to see some, because it makes sense, especially later in the year when teams are gearing up for the playoffs. That's when you really want to get the kids in and give them some time, and so that intensity level's out there. Right now, it's just kind of like teams feeling each other out all year long until the last 20 games, So I was okay with some parts of the game. I mean, we're letting in a hell of a lot of goals these days, and I do think we got to address something about the goaltending. We can't just have Tokarski as our only plan, really. So I think they know that, obviously, and God, are we going to go, who are we going to have in nets in Florida? Big question, eh? I mean, we'll have to see. So we just played a bunch of games, and in those games, where'd we go? We went 2-4-1, I believe, right? unless I'm miscalculating something, or was it 2-3-1? I'd have to check. I think it's 2-3-1. The Sabres right now are just a team, if I can use the word transition. We're in a transition right now, a transition part in our history where it's going to take some hurt. It's going to take some hurt, obviously. Like I really, for them not to be more up for that game and more protective of our own zone and things like that, it was hard to watch, because it's like you knew how desperately they didn't want to give up. I mean, we made it 6-4 late in the game, even called a timeout, pulled the goalie. You know, they didn't give up, but it's like we're always putting ourselves in a position to be hurt early in these games, I find. It's got to change. We got to change that part at least. You know, even if it means losing still, fix that. It's not acceptable to always be running behind in games, really. I've had some fun times with this team this year. I look at their record, I'm like, you know, is it really that bad? It could be so much worse. It could be. The way we look now, especially. Right now, we look kind of like last year again, where we're just, you know, are we going to really hit a spiral downwards? I don't know. These next 2 games are going to say a lot, because we're not supposed to win either one. Let's face it. We are not supposed to win either one of these 2 games coming up. We'll see if we win one of them. If we can win one of them, it's still a statement that, you know, let's face it, if I had a choice, I'd rather win in Florida than last night. But the odds, I know, winning in Florida are like thin at best. So we'll just have to go into these games and do the best we can with our system that we know and our identity that we know so far, and see what happens and roll the dice. We just might come out surprised. We might. But I'm not holding my breath. I'll say that about going into Florida and even Carolina. It's going to be hard. And I'm glad it's going to be hard in a way, folks. To be honest, I'm glad it's going to be hard. It's the only way they're going to learn is to unite together, to stand up for each other, and even in losses, not get caught up with the loss, get caught up with the way you're playing, the mistakes you're making, fixing them on the fly, on the bench, looking at the iPads and things like that. Get it fixed, because these mistakes in our zone are driving me nuts. But it's where we're at right now, and it's really, to be honest, this isn't our roster that's going to have a deep playoff run, and we all know that. So yeah, we knew before the season we're going into a season of learn and a season of pain. We expected it going in. And I still believe we could surprise and be in the 70s this year in points. Maybe we can make a run at 500. We'll have to see. It's hard to tell. It's always hard to tell with a young team. They might just go boom, you know, right down all of a sudden. And then we're in the bottom 5 in the league for good the rest of the year. We'll have to see. There's no way to know right yet. Still, believe it or not. At least that's the way I see it. All right, guys, that's it for now. I'm going to jump on, I don't know which video's next. There's some requests, so I got to get on those today at some point. And all I can say is we got to hang in, we got to unite with this team, and we got to root them on, especially the next 2 games. The next 2 games are probably going to be the hardest 2 games we faced all season, I believe. So it is going to be a test. I'll see you in the next one, guys.